If looks could kill on the cobbles of Weatherfield, Theo Silverton would have wiped out half the street by now. Picture the scene: a man who spent months tightening his grip on Todd Grimshaw until every smile, every friendship, every scrap of independence felt dangerous, suddenly finds himself watching the man he tried to own walk out of a restaurant with someone else. Not just any someone. A charming, larger-than-life karaoke enthusiast who makes Todd laugh properly for the first time in what feels like forever. And Theo? He's left sitting there with a face like thunder, forced to watch his carefully constructed control start to slip through his fingers. That is the moment Coronation Street fans cannot stop talking about. Theo's jealousy is raging once again, and this time the trigger is Todd going home with another man. After weeks of tension, breakups, mind games, and pure spite, the abuser is discovering that his favorite victim might actually be learning how to live without him. And for a character as controlling and volatile as Theo, that discovery is pure poison. To understand why this development hits so hard, you need the full picture of what Todd has endured. Theo Silverton, played with chilling intensity by James Cartwright, arrived on the street and quickly zeroed in on Todd Grimshaw, brought to life by Gareth Pierce. What began as a relationship soon twisted into something far darker. Viewers have watched Theo subject Todd to a sustained campaign of emotional gaslighting, coercive control, financial abuse, and terrifying physical violence. He isolated Todd from friends. He dictated what Todd could spend. He flew into rages over the smallest interactions with other men. And in one of the most shocking revelations of the entire storyline, Theo was responsible for the death of Todd's close friend and confidant Billy Mayhew, deliberately leaving him to perish in the Corrie crash out of pure jealousy so that he could have Todd all to himself. By early 2026, the relationship had reached breaking point. On Theo's birthday, after Todd's carefully budgeted present failed to impress him, Theo exploded. In a heated domestic, he pulled a knife on his terrified fiancée. Instead of crumbling, Todd reached rock bottom and dared him to finish it, to put him out of his misery. That unexpected defiance shattered Theo's sense of power. The next day, in a calculated move designed to save face rather than show genuine remorse, Theo ended the relationship, handed back the engagement ring, and walked away. Many fans hoped that was the end of the nightmare. Seasoned Coronation Street viewers knew better. Theo could not simply let go. Almost immediately, he began the next phase of his manipulation. He made a show of flirting wildly with a colleague called Andy at the bistro, deliberately trying to convince Todd that he had already moved on. The plan was classic Theo: wound Todd's pride, stir his jealousy, and reel him back in. But the tactic backfired spectacularly. Encouraged by the no-nonsense Glenda Shuttleworth, Todd decided to take the same advice Theo had been forcing on him. He agreed to go on a date. Enter Raymond, played by Andy Brady. Glenda's mate is everything Theo is not: warm, funny, self-deprecating, and genuinely delightful. Over dinner, he regales Todd with stories of his days on the cruise ships, sailing with a Wham cover band and getting up to mischief with a Village People tribute act. The banter is light, the chemistry is easy, and for the first time in a long while Todd is smiling without fear. Then Theo appears. He crashes Gary Windus's birthday celebrations at the next table and proceeds to laugh far too loudly at every joke, ordering shots and performing happiness as loudly as possible just to throw Todd off his game. The contrast is painful. While Raymond is being effortlessly charming, Theo is the loud, desperate ex trying to reclaim center stage. Todd, still raw from the breakup and clearly not ready for anything serious, lets Raymond down gently. He tells him he's sweet. Raymond's response is pure gold. Sweet? Nanas are sweet. I think what you mean to say is, Raymond, you are so unbelievably hot. I'm only going to end up getting burnt, so let's call it quits now. Even as the date ends, Raymond offers sharp, compassionate advice. If the laughing man at the next table is who he suspects, Todd needs to get himself into a dating headspace soon, for his own sake. Then Raymond asks Todd to walk him to the bus stop. They leave together. Theo is left staring after them, jealousy burning in his eyes. That image of Todd walking away with another man is the moment the story turns. For months, Theo has controlled the narrative. He decided when Todd could see friends. He decided how much money Todd could spend. He decided what Todd was allowed to feel. Suddenly, Todd is choosing to leave a restaurant with someone who makes him laugh, and Theo has no say in it. The green-eyed monster that has driven so much of his cruelty is no longer just an internal force. It is being fed by the very independence he tried so hard to crush. The fallout has been swift and ugly. Theo's jealousy does not stay focused solely on Todd. When a heartbroken Todd goes on a drunken bender after the split, it is James Bailey who helps him home and ends up staying the night on the sofa. Theo overhears the details the next day, and his rage intensifies. He has long hated James, a confident, open, handsome gay man who represents everything Theo has never been able to accept about himself. Actor James Cartwright has spoken about this, noting that Theo loathes men who are comfortable in their own skin because he has never settled into his own identity. Seeing James look after Todd is almost more than he can stand. At the same time, Theo begins targeting the people closest to Todd. George Shuttleworth, Todd's boss, mentor, and father figure at the funeral parlor, has long been viewed by Theo as a threat. When George's business comes under pressure from a smear campaign, Theo sees an opportunity. He introduces himself to Annie, the woman making the accusations, and the implication is clear. Anyone who stands between Theo and control of Todd is fair game. Fans have reacted with a mixture of relief and dread. Social media has been flooded with comments celebrating Todd's brief moment of freedom and Raymond's scene-stealing charm. Many have called for the character to return as a regular, arguing that Todd deserves someone who brings joy rather than fear. Others have pointed out the danger. Theo's history shows that jealousy does not lead him to walk away quietly. It leads him to escalate. Viewers who have followed the storyline closely remember the knife, the financial control, the isolation tactics, and the ultimate act of leaving Billy to die. Watching Todd walk out with Raymond may feel like progress, but it also feels like the calm before another storm. Television outlets have been quick to cover the development. Metro's coverage captured the delicious schadenfreude of seeing Theo's plan collapse, while also warning that his trademark glower never ends well for anyone, especially Todd. Digital Spy and other soap sites have tracked the ongoing manipulation, noting that even the breakup itself appears to have been a calculated move rather than a genuine release. James Cartwright has described the split as disingenuous, a way for Theo to seize control by deciding the ending rather than being left. The actor has also spoken about how Theo's behavior has shifted from opportunistic to coldly calculated, becoming very, very cruel. What does this mean for the future of the characters and the show? In the short term, Theo's jealousy is already driving darker behavior. Spoilers around the same period showed him spiking Todd's drink during a conversation with James about marathon training, then later ensuring Todd misses the race by switching off his alarm. The pattern is clear. If Theo cannot own Todd, he will sabotage anything that makes Todd feel strong or independent. There has even been talk of Theo attempting to force a shotgun wedding, using the fact that the registry office booking was never canceled as leverage. The message is unmistakable. Ending the relationship on paper does not mean the control has ended. For Todd, the path forward looks complicated. Gareth Pierce has spoken in interviews about the character's need for regeneration after such a long and traumatic storyline. The abuse has left deep scars. Trusting other people again, rebuilding friendships that Theo systematically damaged, and learning to feel safe in his own skin will not happen overnight. The brief connection with Raymond offered a glimpse of what happiness might look like, but Todd himself admitted he was not in the right headspace. That honesty is important. It shows a man who is beginning to recognize his own limits after months of having those limits dictated by someone else. Looking further ahead, the storyline has already raised the stakes to life and death levels. Theo's willingness to leave Billy to die proved there are almost no boundaries he will not cross when jealousy takes hold. Fans have openly speculated about whether James Bailey, George, or even Todd himself could become the next target if Theo feels his grip slipping completely. The show has handled the domestic abuse storyline with considerable weight, and the current wave of jealousy feels like the pressure cooker is building towards a major confrontation. There is also the question of how long a character as toxic as Theo can remain on the street. Storylines of this intensity rarely continue indefinitely. At some point, the truth of the abuse, the extent of the manipulation, and the full horror of Billy's death will have to surface more publicly. When that happens, the community's reaction and Todd's own recovery will shape the next chapter of Coronation Street. For now, the focus remains on the immediate drama, a man who once controlled every aspect of Todd's life, watching him walk away with someone else and realizing, perhaps for the first time, that his power is not absolute. The latest developments have reminded everyone why this storyline has gripped viewers so tightly. It is not simply about soap opera drama. It is about the slow, insidious nature of coercive control, the way jealousy can twist into something monstrous, and the quiet courage it takes for a victim to take even the smallest step towards freedom. Todd going home with another man may look like a simple date on the surface. In the context of everything that has come before, it is a quiet act of defiance. And for Theo Silverton, that defiance is intolerable. As the episodes continue to unfold, fans will be watching closely to see whether Todd can hold on to the fragile sense of independence he has begun to reclaim, or whether Theo's rage will drag him back into the darkness once more. One thing is certain. On Coronation Street, jealousy this pure and this destructive rarely fades quietly. It builds, it plots, and eventually it explodes. What do you make of Theo's latest spiral? Do you think Todd is finally starting to break free, or is the worst still to come? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the latest Coronation Street drama, give the video a like and subscribe for more updates from the cobbles. There is never a dull week in Weatherfield, and we will be here every time the next twist lands.